Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to tell you about this podcast. It's called The DK Project, but it's really The Darren Show. The DK Project is a radio show, but without the radio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
Let's go! Hey, everybody, it's your old boy DK. Got a new hot podcast here. Chef Ted stops by for a little sit down to give us an update on what's been happening. Chef Ted, the culinary extraordinaire locally. He travels to you when there's no pandemic going around. But since there's the pandemic, he's had to call an audible. We got into that with him and a little more about what he's been doing. A great service he provides. He's an amazing chef, and they'll cook the meals and drop them off at your doorstep. All you got to do is heat it and eat it. It's the greatest program ever. And I do find out in the podcast that his meals come with a dessert. My favorite thing in the world. Boy, I got to tell you, when you know a chef, all things are good when it comes to food because, boy, he can cook. It's a great story. It's a great podcast. So hopefully you enjoy it and you learn a little more about what options are out there in the culinary world coming to you. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Chef Ted. Welcome to the DK Project, episode 80. Guess who's stopping by today? It's Chef Ted. How you doing, buddy?
Great to be here.
He's been working on a new plan because the old plan out the door. Stupid pandemic. Are you finding yourself doing things new? I mean, obviously you had to change gears, man. Tell us what's been happening.
Well, a lot of the parties canceled, and
because really that's your spot, right? That's your sweet spot. Is you do big parties, although you do corporate lunches, corporate dinners.
Yeah, we do a lot of. Let's say you have a group of people from a company in town, and you don't want to go out to a restaurant. We'll do sit down dinner at their home.
A little bit closer.
We'll do a sit down dinner at their home, and they'll.
And you're doing everything.
Yep. We'll.
You bring all the shit, or do you use their shit?
Well, a lot of times they have really good wines in their cellar. And they, they look for a reason to bring them out, and either we pair the food to the wine. And
so do you get to pick?
Well, they'll maybe tell me what kind of wine they have, and I'll pick a menu based around it.
So do you have repeat people that you're doing this all the time?
Yeah. You go out to a restaurant with a group of people, if they don't have a back room that you can conduct business, and be quiet. A lot of these restaurants, back in the day, right?
Yeah. When you could leave the house.
You'd have to have a party room to actually have a conversation because it's so loud. But, and you get people that come in from out of town. It's just easier to coordinate to have them to your house. And
so are these guys getting into cigars and the whole bit? Are you hearing some shit?
I haven't seen a lot of
witnessing big things.
No, I'm in the back a lot, and servers hear more than I do, but it's, they're making business deals, and they'll cigars, not so much, maybe like 8-9 years ago, but I think I've seen more and more people coming back to them with this whole pandemic.
Yeah, I would
so
imagine.
I had a client that I saw not too long ago, and he was back to smoking more cigars. So
I could only imagine.
Yeah.
I think it's, obviously we've talked about it a million times. I think it's complicated a lot of businesses, but yours, obviously, how did you get into this? Obviously, take us back. Now, you're an Orono brat, which we're going to allow, but I'm not big on it.
I live in Mountain.
We'll look the other way.
Yeah.
And now you're one of us. But how do you get into this business? Like, you see so much right now with the culinary world with, like, God, I just saw what's his name? Crazy hair. Guy Fieri.
Yeah, Fieri.
And he was on Bert Kreischer's podcast. Holy shit. That guy's crazy. Number one, I think he might have a pretty good case of ADD.
Yes.
But he is just a mover and a shaker. Like, Bert's telling him about this thing that he does on whatever network. And it's like a show. It's called Something's Burning. And it's actually funny as hell, but it would never make it on network TV because it's pretty explicit. But, guys like, let's talk about it. Let's get it out there. Like he's just a can-do guy, which was awesome. But how do you go from being an Orono kid to getting into the culinary world? Like, how do you, was that your first choice? Like, you knew right away?
Well, not sort of. I guess my first experience was I grew up only child, and I get home from school hungry, and my parents were both working. So I would look in the cupboard and see what we had. And, back then they didn't have all the preservative meals you could just pop in the oven, or, I think it was even before microwaves at the time.
You had to make your own shit.
So I got a hold of my mom.
Low end of Orono?
Yeah, we were.
The back end.
Yeah, we were on the outskirts. And then, I would just grab my mom's cookbook. I think it was a Betty Crocker cookbook at the time. And I'd look in the pantry and see what we had, and
really, and
just kind of make stuff there. But my first job experience was actually dishwashing at a place in Long Lake called Eddie's Malt Shop. It was a great old 50s hamburger malt shop kind of.
Where was
theme.
that?
Do you know where the Toro dealership is in?
Yeah.
There used to be a restaurant.
Carboni's
there.
is up that way now.
But it's a little off.
Really?
Yeah.
Wasn't a drive-in. It was just a malt shop.
It was just a malt shop.
Yeah.
And, they had the old school player in there, and all the themes.
What was that? Like when did it go away?
It was probably in its heyday, it was probably 80, 85, 84, because I graduated from Orono in 90. So it was.
I've never heard of it. I didn't know.
Yeah, I was about 15 when I was doing dishes there.
So you never left.
No. Well, I did. Well, after I went to Orono, and I found out you could leave half days junior and senior year if you wanted to take a vocational job.
Oh, right.
So I went to Votech half days, and most people just blow it off to get out of school. Well, that's what
I did.
I did it to go learn how to cook. And the malt shop was great. It was my only once I got that first paycheck, I was hooked.
Hell yeah.
So beyond cooking, it was more about, well, mom and dad won't buy me this or that. And so
were you no sports or nothing? You just went right to working?
I quit sports for working, and luckily, I think back, I wish I wouldn't have, but you know what? I'm doing the same job that I was doing back then, same career that I chose to do for the rest of my life. So not many people can say that. They get caught into a job that they don't.
So you just knew that was it.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I knew at an early age too, even after I went to the vocational school, I finished that the year after high school just to get it. I already had 2 years invested with high school. And so then I finished the next year at North Hennepin Tech. And then I went to the Culinary Institute in Hyde Park, New York for 2 years.
Really?
Yep. And so...
so when you're doing the Culinary Institute, are we talking about regular classes? Or are you just cooking food all the time? I mean, did you have to take math?
Yeah, they have culinary math. They have culinary French. I mean, they have regular...
Is that like cups and gallons and quarts?
Yeah, you got to break it all down. I mean, it's it's actually, it's when you're dealing with dollars and then you deal with hundreds of people, an error can cost a lot of money.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You got somebody who doesn't know how to do their multiplications. And
so do they teach you like the business side of it too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so when you come out of there, you're restaurant ready?
Pretty much. I mean, it's all relative with how much people adhered to it.
Yeah, right.
But I felt pretty.
So were you right in Manhattan?
No, they're north. They're in Poughkeepsie it's the last stop on the Metro North out of New York City.
Damn.
So maybe extended now, but we used to go down in the city when we weren't, on the weekend once in a while, but we had one friend who lived in Brooklyn, so he knew how to show us around. But
yeah,
he
used to get the Brooklyn chicks.
So we worked a lot of weekends. Just
so
to make
you're
money.
working in a restaurant then? Because the Culinary Institute has a restaurant, doesn't it?
Yeah, they had 4 restaurants. They probably have more now, but you work those restaurants through your.
Because I think when I was in Napa, they had the French Laundry or something was called, right? No?
Yeah, the Napa they picked up for their extended wine program, and extending and their.
So they teach you all that shit too, like wine, like.
Yeah, we had a 6-week wine class, which I mean, if you're not doing it every year and all the time, it's a lot to keep up on because. Yeah. I mean,
sommelier. I have to think about that.
They take it to a whole nother level. There's a reason they have sommeliers.
Well, that's blown up so ridiculously since.
Yep.
You probably went to school. Like wine is a big deal.
Yeah.
And so is beer, I guess. Now they,
yeah,
so
we would,
trendy.
Yeah, we had a class that was 6 weeks, and every day we would try 6 different wines.
Woo.
And they would just do them from different regions and different places.
Were you just getting ripped all day at class?
Well, a funny story about that is
My kids are going to want to go to the culinary institute.
The day we had champagne was the same day we did our pictures for our class.
Oh,
everyone
they planned that.
Everyone thought they were looking pretty good, but
loosen up.
Yeah, little pockets
Looks
under
like
your
a
eyes.
National Lampoon vacation picture.
Yeah.
So when you get done there, did you go to a restaurant then? Have you ever owned a restaurant?
I've never owned a restaurant. I've worked for. Do you remember back in the day when Grazie was in Wayzata?
No.
Okay. Do you know the strip mall off of 394 where they have the bait shop and there's a little Indian place?
Ukahara's.
Yeah. That used to be in Italian restaurant called Grazie. And I was a sous chef there, and it was hot. It was a hot spot in the time. But they had like 12 owners and too many. I mean, they paid dirt cheap rent, but they had a really good revenue. Yeah,
that Bukahara's, that's a ticket.
They do pretty good. Yeah, I haven't been in there, but
I don't go there that often, but I've been there a couple times. It's solid.
It's a real
solid.
Deal. Well, they've been in business for a long time. I got to imagine
that's not a great location. It's not very accessible.
No, but if you do the right thing, people will come.
They'll come. I know I was there one time with a group, and the guy's like, hey, give them the pepper. And they brought out this one pepper and set it on the table. And just sitting near it, I was sweating. It was just ridiculous. I don't know what they were thinking, but.
Well, I'm into my hot peppers. I've grown them. And
you got a crop this year?
I'm going to take a break. They're in the freezer. I got so many in the freezer.
You're over peppered?
I'm over.
I think I want to do pickles.
Really? Yeah.
A pickle thing.
Okay.
But when do you do pickles?
Whenever. I like refrigerator pickles.
Grazie.
The kind you can just store in the fridge for at least 2-3 weeks or something. Those are probably.
What are the ones you can?
I don't want to. I don't really like getting into canning. It's a whole. You got to make sure it's clean. And
I got a buddy who does them.
Yeah.
And he puts all of them in the wash machine.
Oh, to
clean them?
To clean them, yeah.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Thinking outside the box.
Yeah. Anytime, if somebody ever brings something out of their pantry and says they canned it themselves, I'm a little like.
You got to sign a waiver.
Sign a waiver.
You got to sign the waiver. So yeah.
Check for a bulging top.
I always wanted to because I don't know what it is. I got a little pickle addiction right now. It's just weird as hell.
Well, my favorite pickle with a little kick is the Claussens, the refrigerated Claussens with the pepper. They're hot and spicy.
Right in them, sure.
Yeah,
I didn't know Claussen did it. What do I get the Famous Dave's ones that are kind of.
Those are
so
sweet.
Sugar in them.
I don't like the sugar.
They're like sticky to eat.
No, I'm a
bunch of shit.
I'm a salty vinegar type of.
So you're at Grazie. I just feel bad even saying that. I mean, don't you need to put some Italian boost in that? Grazie.
Grazie.
Maybe that's why I didn't make it, huh?
No, they made it and then they expanded it to another place in Wayzata with higher rent.
Oh.
And it was a different theme and they just
down goes for Chi-Chi's used to be right there.
Yeah, that wasn't far from Chi-Chi's. Yeah.
Coming off the Cinco de Mayo. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So then what? Now you're going on your own.
Well, so I left, basically when I left the Culinary Institute, I came back here, worked at Grazie. I always had it in my head to go to Chicago and work in a nice restaurant in Chicago. So something opened up in Chicago and I worked at a place called Trio. And it was at the time, Charlie Trotter had his place and Trio was in Evanston. And I worked at Trio for a little bit, but I always had a shoe-in with this guy who was starting working in homes with families for meals. But his thing was healthy meals.
Really?
And he had a cookbook and he wanted me to follow his recipes, which isn't my thing. And it was funny because I did a photo shoot in the Chicago Tribune doing one of his meals. And after that, I had enough clients all over Chicago to keep busy. So I left Trio and started working privately in people's homes.
So you went right from that into the private.
Yep. And then once I got into the private, I haven't left.
Damn.
So it's, before that I worked in
pandemic hits.
Yeah, exactly. That was always my one example.
Now part-time and at the Q. They, so how did you then shift that? I mean, because once you start building a base in Chicago, how do you shift that to here?
Well, I had to make a decision. I was working for him, and it was, I built up these relationships with these clients. I got to say that somewhere in Naperville, somewhere in Evanston, I was running all over, and you had to time the traffic in Chicago, as you know, and is you got to time your day out. You know, it's one thing to go from A to B once a day, but to have to run around town it's a lot of work. And so I didn't mind it. I lived on like 4200 Ashland, so it's kind of central based in the city, not far from Wrigley.
Shaking my head like that means something to me.
Well, anyway, it's a decent location.
42nd in Ashland, that's a good address.
It wasn't so good back then. It's better now.
Nice.
And so, yeah. So
how long did you do it there before you came here?
That was about a good 8 months, and then
that's it.
Okay. I built it up real quick. Once it hit the Chicago Tribune, it was like,
so that's the ticket.
I mean, it was, the guy knew it too. But once I started working for these people, I'd make these healthy meals the way he wanted me to, and so many of my clients were like, hey, you can just start making. It's more about the convenience here. So you go, feel free and
sauce it up,
and
hell yeah,
and do your own thing. We don't want to, tell you this is what. So I got more input from them on what their family likes, and then I started. And the guy I was working for, he didn't care. He just collected the.
As long as the check comes in, he didn't care.
He just collected the check. So
wow, that's crazy.
So anyway, at the end of the I had to make a decision. He was either going to stay there. I asked my wife, we weren't married at the time, if she said, well, should I come down there and check it out and maybe live down there and do teaching? And I said, you know what? I really miss Lake Minnetonka area. I grew up there. I could probably come back and make a couple phone calls start. And so I came back and started my own business right away. And
damn, how long's that been?
It was the fall of 1996.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
Wow, you got right on it.
Yeah. Well, when you don't have anything to lose, you jump in.
That's hardcore. Wow. So you've been doing the Chef Ted since then?
Yeah. 1996. Yep.
So you got a huge client base then?
I do. Yep.
That's awesome.
A lot of them are very private, and they,
when there's no pandemic.
So that's the thing they like. I go to their home, and, I'm not out there advertising, and there's only so much you can handle. And so for me, in these new times of working privately and doing parties for people, that all stopped. The parties, nobody wanted to have anybody over.
Did that stop immediately? I mean, you had shit booked out.
Immediately, and everything booked out, canceled. And that's the bonus was I wasn't considered one of the businesses that could be shut down. So because my kitchen nobody comes to my kitchen.
Right.
So I was like, well, what, I need to promote, doing family meals, but I can't promote it to like the same as my higher end clients, because I don't want to limit, I want to make it available to more people.
Right.
But yet I got to make it worth my time. And, it's still individual. It's sort of, it's running around, and like the logistic, I deliver the food.
So now with the pandemic, you've switched it to where you're doing like meals, like a Blue Apron, but you're local and fresh.
Yeah, but this is done and ready to either put in the oven or microwave. I mean, it's
just heat it.
Yeah, it's just heat it and eat.
So you're preparing individual meals.
Yep.
And then you're delivering them.
It's 3 meals. There's a salad for that last couple days. There's 3 meals with sides appropriate, unless it's a one pot dish, which sometimes we'll throw like a biscuit or, some sort of bakery with it.
Sure.
And then we have a dessert that we do that my sister comes up. My sister is Chef Melody, and she comes up with great desserts, and she's our resident dessert pusher.
Ted brought some scones in for me today. I took a little sample. I'm trying to be good.
They're blueberry coconut scones, which we actually made them with a sugar substitute, which is like a stevia blend.
Do you do a lot of that where people are like, can't have sugar, can't have dairy?
Well, the client we made these for, that we had a couple extra, she just wants to lower sugar, and people with diabetes, they got to look out for that. There's a lot of sugar substitutes that people can use that won't raise their blood sugar level, and they still can have a lot more sweets in there.
Do you think that that once the pandemic's over, which is going to be soon, do you think you'll continue to do this?
I think I will. The way we have it set up now, it won't interfere, I don't think, with parties coming back, because I have a lot of my weekends open now.
Yeah.
Before I was working all my weekends. So we put out the menu on Thursday, usually for the following delivery Tuesday. And so it gives people time to think about it, mull it over. And, it's been pretty steady. I mean, it's been good. I mean, like I said, I'm just trying to pay the bills now.
And you're just doing Facebook, right?
Yeah. Facebook, people that bash Facebook, it's been really a great tool for these businesses like me to get out
reach.
there.
It's a good reach.
Yeah. And before I was only using it for basically, here's pictures of my kids for my relatives and,
there's
like
people out there that are, it gets frustrating at times, but I'm sure the mention on the podcast is probably what's putting you over the top.
Exactly.
Yeah. The commercial work, that's the ticket.
I went to school with, Stephanie March, who's a writer for the Minneapolis St. Paul magazine.
Oh, okay.
And she gave me a write up on one of her last.
Oh, nice.
Deals. So that was nice. Yeah.
That's like one of the, I just heard that they're getting rid of the Lakeshore Weekly News.
Are they?
It's not but what a dumb concept. We're going to mail this out to you for free.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Thanks. And I got to say that I've advertised and stuff like that, and it's great. It's fine and everything, but to pay money for it, a lot of people skip over it. They don't.
Well, and that's the whole thing. I used to have an insurance agency and you'd advertise everywhere.
Yeah.
And unless it's, unless you happen to get them on the day they're pissed at their agent and they happen through the paper or the magazine to see you, nothing. It's word of mouth. The thing in the Minneapolis St. Paul magazine, that actually has really good viewership. I mean, you really get a lot of traction out of that.
Well, yeah, I talked to her via typing. We didn't talk in person, but she I said,
talks in person?
I know.
Who does that?
I never thought I was going to text until I started texting, and then it's like, look out.
Well, now it's so easy, but people get tough on texting. You got to rein them in.
But I told her, I said, I'm old school. I'm the guy who, I'm not used to this social media stuff. My clients all came from, I do a party, you see what I do, you like what I do, then call me, like I'm not let me talk about myself and then, I'll show you how good I am. I'm like, I've always believed that if you talk the talk, you walk the walk, and you got to have both, or no one's going to want anything you got. So.
Well, and I'm sure you're basically, for lack of a better term, you're running the sample bar at Costco. Here, try it, and you might want it. Not completely different levels, but I'm just saying that if people are there eating and seeing the service that you're putting out, that's an easy sale right there.
Yep.
I could totally dig the fact that gets them coming in, but now with nobody doing anything,
that's what I said.
Complicated.
Yeah, so I reached out as best I could and tried to get likes on my Chef Ted Facebook page, and who needs a web page anymore? Just use your Facebook page. I mean, because you get the immediate, you can adjust it immediately.
Well, and people are.
I mean, my website page is like from 15 years ago. No, it's not that long, but it's
well, and it's funny because a lot of people don't even bother anymore with the website and whatever. Like you said, you just leave it out there, so it's there.
Yeah,
because you don't have brick and mortar. There's nowhere for anybody to go. But just seeing that you did have something on the web, or do have something on the web, it's like, oh, okay, this might be real.
Yeah,
and then they'll,
the one thing I need to do is get a link for my Facebook on there. Yeah,
well, I got just the lady to handle that for you.
Yeah,
we do a lot of work with Biondo. Denise Biondi is her name.
Okay.
I'll get you her contact information. She does all my websites. I mean, very, very reasonable, really good work. But you connect all that shit, and then you get pictures.
That's what I was saying about this whole, social media. I never really reached out to people that way. So this is a whole
new. Never used it.
And, I found it to be, obviously it's, with social media, you can open yourself up to criticism more too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's where, it's kind of scary for some people that.
But even that press where they're commenting on stuff, and it gives you an immediate opportunity to respond to them.
Yeah.
And if it's somebody who's not happy or this or that, you can either make it right, or you can let people know that, this person's just an asshole and they're never going to be happy anyway.
Yeah.
Because and I've actually used that a few times in one of my businesses where people are just not performing and they're overbilling or they're doing whatever. And you give them the, hey man, I'm going to put something out on the internet. I'm not going to talk bad about you, but I'm going to explain our interaction, and it's not going to look good for you.
Yeah.
So if you want me to do that, it'll be out there forever.
Yeah.
But if not, let's make it right. Where if you do something on Facebook and that's the only way that they can find you or whatever, then you can at least go back in there and say, here's what happened.
Sure.
And try and explain it away. And, I think a lot of those people that spend a lot of time, I mean, I actually have been looking at doing a segment on the show where I go into Facebook or Instagram. Because if you do something where like Donald Trump Jr. or Biden or some of these people with a ton of, hot topics, you go into their comments and you read them and you're just like, what planet are these people on? Number one, who has time to go through all this shit and comment? Like, oh, I'm the 17,000th comment on this one, but somebody's going to see it. And it's like, come on, get real. Nobody gives a shit. But they're out there. And that's why I say even bad press is good press, because the more people do it, the more it pops up, the more it keeps coming up. And as they comment on Facebook, it keeps coming to the top.
Yeah.
And there's some people that you're just like, God, I don't care anymore,
Yeah. Yeah. So we've been using that, and that was the one thing I do on Thursday for the Tuesday delivery is meant the more families that get involved, I divide the grocery costs amongst all of them, based on, so if I have less, it could possibly be more costs in groceries per family. The more I'm able to stretch it out a little bit.
Right.
So, it's
same as if they were to go,
I said
what it is.
I said, Scotty B the other day, I said, people will go buy $250 worth of groceries and throw $75 away. I said, but if you have something prepared and created and it's meant to eat, it's ready to go, you're more apt to eat it than look in the fridge and see a bag of broccoli and go, well, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah, it's looking a little ugly. Yeah. As my wife just comes off a $500 grocery store run.
Well, yeah, it's just getting more expensive. And
I think when you look at it that way, I mean, we did the Blue Apron thing for a long time.
But you still have to cook, right?
You still have to cook, which we kind of like.
That's fine.
Especially right now with the pandemic, man. I'm telling you, I'm loving this.
Yeah.
My kids are stuck at home.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're starting to loosen up now, but my 2 college kids are at home and they do go out, but they're always home for dinner and they're always, home early in the evening. And it's like, if this wasn't going on, I'd never see them.
Yeah.
Never see them at all. My daughter, whom is a senior, she's struggling with it a little bit because she's obviously a senior and this is going to be weird, but it's going to be definitely a graduation year to remember because it's not going to be like any other one.
Yeah. I feel really bad for them.
It's tough. It's really tough, but they're working on it. She's actually put together a little committee where they're going to, work on it. Here's a good one for you. I was talking to somebody the other day and living in my bubble, but the kids have to log in order to go to class. And I was talking with a guy who's in the know, and he told me that 10% of our student body in our school has not logged in yet.
Oh, really?
At all.
Wow.
They're saying that like local school like Wayzata is not going to fail anybody. And I didn't hear that about our school, but can you imagine what's going to happen next year when they got to put this all back together with these students?
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm a kid in school and I know that they're not going to fail me, I'm not logging in.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, why bother?
It's going to be interesting to see the sports teams too.
Wow. They're talking baseball's coming back.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they said July something. Have you heard anything?
I heard they were showing what Korean baseball right now or something like that. It was something like that.
Foreign,
yeah, but it's on at like 12 midnight. So if you
and then they put pictures of all the people who would be in the stands. They put pictures of people on the seats.
Okay.
So it felt like there were people there.
All right.
But I had Terry in the other day, who he works with the Vikings.
Sure.
And he's like, if they do football with no fans, they're going to have to like mute the stadium and just have the announcers talk.
Okay.
Because there's such foul language and crazy stuff being said on the sidelines that it'll echo through the stadium because there's no fans there. He also brought up a really good point about the CTE from concussions, that the volume in these stadiums for the players that aren't even on the field are creating problems with CTE.
Really?
Because they have a lady, a person on the field who has a red hat, and they have a button that if they think something's wrong, somebody's hurt, something, they can hit that button and it never stops. Like immediate stop.
Okay.
How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
Like they're really making some progress on it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting, but I think everybody's Joseph for some sports.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
God.
Well, I'm wearing my twin shirt today. So
well, you got to break it out. Otherwise, what do you?
I've already missed a couple games, so
that sucks.
Yeah.
Have they talked refund or what do they do?
I think I'm not the one who holds the ticket, the season ticket, but I think what I've gotten from them is they're going to reimburse for either next year or extended games. They'll give you, and 15%. I don't know what that 15, maybe for the food stands or something.
Maybe.
I don't know where that goes, but I think it'll go back into the.
I'm interested to see how they put it all back together. They're talking like there's a NASCAR race that's going to happen here any day because they can kind of social distance on that with no fans.
Yeah.
But it's almost weird to see these things being played with no fans.
Yeah.
It's and I don't know what I saw. I saw some bowling right when it all started, but they still had like family and friends there. So it looked like some fans, but I don't know. We're just entering a whole new world that's going to be really interesting to adjust to because everybody's so used to the normal and we don't have normal anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of race cars, I saw the Indianapolis 500 was going to open up for some high schools and they'll do their graduations. They come in, they get their diploma and they'll let them drive around the track.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, that's cool.
Isn't that cool?
I know there's been talk of people doing
We're heading up to Brainerd.
drive-in theater. Oh yeah. Because Raceway's not around anymore.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't, it'd be cool. Come up with something creative like that. You know, these kids deserve it. And they've worked hard. And I know they're working on it. They've had some Zoom meetings about it that haven't gone well. And I just feel bad because like these teachers and the kids next year, how to put it together. Like you missed a whole segment here because there are kids that aren't trying and don't, log in or don't do their work. And, sports, like these kids that are going to be seniors next year or this year, you don't get that last run. You don't get the last chance for the colleges to take a look at you, which by the time you're a senior, most of them should have looked at you already if you're good. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a different time. So, but we're nearing the end. It's coming to an end. I think they're going to start loosening up. I was in a meeting with a guy from California. He says some of their restaurants are starting to open up.
Okay.
But you got to keep certain distance.
Yeah.
Although I did see that Georgia had 1,000 cases turn up in 24 hours.
Just because they opened
Just because they're open.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The whole media thing is bullshit.
Or they're testing more.
Yeah, well, right. All the tests finally arrived and they're finally getting to the bottom of it. But
So, I mean, we clean a lot but going to a restaurant setting,
shouldn't we do a lot of this shit anyway?
Yeah.
The spit shields at the cashiers. I mean, shouldn't a lot of that be there anyway?
Yeah. The days of sneeze guards are back.
Yeah. I mean, I hate the masks, but but you guys don't. You guys have your own kitchen. You have all the disposable stuff that you
we
deliver
use disposable and deliver, and they can throw it away. And
so that's pretty,
So that's, but the restaurants are going to have to go to more disposable now too. And I was talking to one of my neighbors whose wife works for one of the big restaurant chains, and when they open up, they're going to have disposable menus, and so people will, he said, check the box and then hand it to the person. And then they'll just basically throw it away once it's done. So
that's dumb.
Yeah. And they'll probably have disposable silverware and placemats.
Some of the shit's going over the top.
I got an email from a company that does tableware and all their stuff is geared towards disposable.
Well, I know, like I'll go to Lund's or Byerly's and you get one of their salads or whatever, and the friggin' bowl damn near disintegrates before you get out of the out of the store.
Yeah, yeah.
That kind of sucks. I've been hitting some takeout, and
it's not always the same.
No, and the portions are smaller.
Well, not mine.
I might have to look into that. I know I went to my favorite Mexican place, and I'm like, what? This is it? Like,
yeah,
come on.
Yeah, I was. It's. I don't know what's going to happen, and some of the restaurants are closing, and some are, we'll see at the end of the day.
It's tough. It's going to be tough. Now on to something a little brighter.
Yep.
So Ted and our kids play hockey together.
I was there for all the stories that he told.
All the stories. He is a witness. No, what I'm talking about here is I would always catch Ted at the hockey game looking at his phone, always on his phone. What are you doing on your phone? And you're watching people open baseball cards.
Football, baseball, sports cards.
Set this up for me. What are we talking about? What's it called?
It's called vintage breaks, and
vintage breaks.
And they basically buy into new and old packs. So you don't have to buy an expensive old pack all into yourself. If you want, you can buy one card slot out of the pack, and they'll open it.
They set this thing up. It looks like a poker table with the overhead camera.
Yep.
And then they have a box of Tops, whatever brand, I don't even know.
Well,
you can buy into that box?
Well, for an example, I grew up opening 1984 Tops football cards, right? And you got
was that your sweet spot, football cards?
Everybody else was opening baseball, and I wanted to be different. And I kind of dug football back in the 80s more than baseball, you know?
All right.
I think baseball lost me when they did that strike. Remember, they didn't finish that. What year was that? I don't remember what year, but they lost me. You know, I was like a big baseball fan, and then so I kind of jumped on the football bandwagon, but not so much lately. You know, like with all the drama. But that was 84 was the year Dan Marino and Elway had their rookie cards, so that was the hot item.
Oh, and Tops was the company.
Yeah, and so I remember going to buy packs and up at the store for cheap, like 25 cents back then.
I don't know. And
so now a pack will cost you unopened, because there's not many of them around. They'll cost you like $60 for an unopened pack.
How many are left?
Well, that's the deal. I mean, you can only open so many, and then the price goes up, I'm sure, as the demand.
So did they know these 84 Tops? Like there's 4 Dan Marinos out there still that haven't been opened. Do they know that, or do they?
Oh, there's tons of 84 Tops still, but it's getting diminished. But I mean, they even have packs from like the 60s that haven't been opened, and
really
they go for a lot of money. And so, like, let's say you get an old 60s pack, in a cello pack, never been opened, certified,
right?
And and then you buy, there may be 15 cards in the pack. And then each person pays $150 a card to get in. But you could get a Mickey Mantle card that's never been touched, fresh out. So I mean,
who gets the gum?
Well, there's some nasty gum. It's bad. I mean, if they have a whole archive of gum.
Do they really?
Yeah, they've one guy that worked on there, he archived all these gum and he has them labeled, and it was a smart thing to do, because I'll tell you, the gum ranges so much.
Is it gum?
It's nasty.
So like the Mickey Mantle pack, is that gum worth more than the other gum?
No,
because it was near the Mickey Mantle card.
I was in a really old pack once. It was like I think it was a 1955 Bowman pack. The gum wrecked every card because it must have got saturated. But they reimbursed everybody their money back. But they can't predict that. You open it up, and they didn't have to give the money back, but that was the risk everyone took.
In the early 90s, I worked at a pool hall that sold baseball cards.
Yeah.
And when I would work there, I would open a pack. And if it had something good in it, then I'd buy it.
Yeah.
If it didn't have anything good in it, then it just never was there.
With that said, you don't want to go on eBay and just buy from any, like an unopened. Yeah, people. All you're talking about is a sealed wax. They can open it up.
Oh, sure.
Through. Yeah.
Oh,
you
I
only
never thought of that.
Yeah, and any baseball or sports cards collector out there, there's only certain, you want to buy graded cards unless you really trust where the cards are coming from, because there's replica cards out there that you couldn't tell the difference naked eye.
Well, I know I had opened a Brett Hull rookie card.
Yep. What year was that?
Sleeved it right away.
Yep.
And I left it in my buddy's car that night, and somebody broke into his car that night and stole it.
Ah.
I couldn't even believe it.
Well, that's one of those packs. That's one of those packs they open up a lot on there.
Really?
Yep.
And is this like, is there like 10 of you card nerds looking at these things? Or
no.
It's a huge thing.
It's huge. Yeah. The guy, he started Leighton Sheldon is the guy who's he owns Just Collect, was how he started his business like 12 years ago. And really good guy. I've gotten to know him, over the years, or a couple of years that I've been dealing with them. And they're just solid people. I mean, they're from New Jersey. And they'll make fun of it every day. He's a Jets fan. That's a problem, but
Ooh. So how many cards do you have in the collection?
Me, I've got, reputable cards. I've got many complete sets, which is kind of what I was going for. Like I've got 1965 complete baseball set, I've got a 1955 Bowman complete baseball set. I've got many different sets.
What are they worth?
A lot. And it's hard to tell because, someone that collects might only want the best cards from a set.
Yeah.
But for me, I like the sets because they're complete and I value the whole
and there's
whole thing.
more value there if you have the whole set.
Yeah. So let's say I wasn't around anymore and I passed them on. Someone might take the set and just take the best cards out and then sell them. And then who cares what happens with the rest? For me, I value having a complete year set, which, got to imagine back in the day, there was only 5 cards per pack. Those kids that completed a set had to buy a lot of packs of cards.
Jeez.
So, I just my whole collecting came from my dad saying, oh, I had that Mickey Mantle card. And so I collected in the early 80s and I collected when cards were, I opened Dan Marino and I still have them in my John Elway.
They're still making new ones, right?
And the new ones are a whole different story. It's they're selling the new ones they have are high dollar. Like when you buy them, you have a chance to getting like a $20,000 card out of a box.
How's that?
It's like, the new Zion Williams, the rookie, his cards, poor guy, he came back and then the season ended, but his card value was off the charts. I mean, because he's supposedly the new LeBron, the newest guy. And so all these card collectors, they just go hog wild because they want the new Michael Jordan, chances are that, your card might be worth $1,000 and then the guy goes and ends up being a Baker Mayfield and is not worth any, I mean, you kind of, it's a prospect thing. So,
damn. So you just have a big vault at your house, like a humidor for baseball cards?
I have stuff in, next time I come in, I'll bring some of my cards. But I have a lot of my higher end ones. They're graded by SGC or PSA.
That's the thing too, right? The grading companies, that's a scam and a half too, isn't it?
Yeah. You want to stick with those two companies. There's Beckett, which is fine, but
I've heard of that one.
Yeah. Beckett's fine, for quick grading. But if you want an accurate grade, because, someone might say, well, I have a Michael Jordan rookie and it's an 8, but it's Beckett. Well, PSA or SGC would only grade it probably a 6. The scale is not the same. Yeah. With that said,
you have to send it to them?
Yeah, you send it raw and then they grade it and they put it in a case. And the grading scale goes from 1 to 10. 10 meaning you got to have a perfectly centered card. No scratches, no dings, no.
So that's
no
a factor too, then, that it wasn't cut straight from the factory?
Oh yeah, you can get dinged. They won't even grade. I have a card that I opened on Vintage Breaks just for fun. Like, is an old 1966. They have packs from 1966 first series Batman cards, which are really cool art cards.
This is such a.
Yeah.
Oh, your wife's got to love this shit.
It's art though. I mean, like some of this old stuff is produced and I have the number one card right out of the pack. It's supposed to be the highest dollar card. I sent it in to get graded. Never been, they sent it back saying they couldn't grade it because it was not cut to size requirement. So
what does that mean? They cut it too small?
It means they either cut it too small or cut it too big. So that's another factor. All these old, when they cut old cards, no matter if it was football, baseball, hockey, back in the day, they would farm it out. So like you'd have a chop shop that would do crappy work, and you see the cutting on it's all over the board. There was no
whole underworld of baseball cards out there. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's and they say now with the pandemic that the people got into more of their hobbies and stuff, and so I
believe it. Nothing else to do.
And I was kind of wondering how the market would be on the sports cards, but it's interesting. It hasn't,
because there's like websites where you go in and type in, I got a 87 Topps, Bob Smith, and it'll tell you if there's any value there or not. Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. PSA has their own price guide, which is great because their values are based on eBay sales.
Oh, those are real.
So actually, a lot of my collection, all my graded cards, I have listed. I literally can take my phone, put it up to their barcode on the display.
Oh,
snap it, and it adds it to my inventory, and it tracks what cards you have. And it's like, I'm serious. It's like
we got a code red here. We got a high level collector. That's an addiction, dude.
Oh, it's a passion. And it's most certainly community that I found out is if you are a collector or whatever, it's fun to talk to other people, and there's websites, in these opening of packs, it brings back nostalgia. It's my son, they sent us a free, a gift for a birthday gift or something. He sent me in an open pack, Leighton did, of 1984 Topps. So my son, we documented him opening it. He opened, there's a Dan Marino in it. It was the funnest thing ever.
Really?
Yeah.
What's
get it
that
fresh.
Worth?
I said it's in to get graded, but if it's a 9, which is, it's like $150 card, but then for some reason, I don't know, Elway and Marino's value of card used to be the same, and Elway has taken, his stock went up way more.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's a whole world. I know. For some reason I have baseball cards or football. I don't even know what they are.
Well, a lot of people do. And
I don't even know how I got them.
Well, mine were in shoe boxes, and I didn't look at them until, maybe like 6-7 years ago. And I've only been seriously collecting probably for the past 7 years. So, but in that time, I've really, it's,
I've really put a lot of money into it.
Well, it's okay.
What is it translated into handbags for your wife? Like, what's the denominator there?
Yeah, she gets on me. Are you done buying cards yet? And I'm like, well, yeah, I am right now because of the pandemic. But but I go back now and I just look at what I've, it's a treasure hunt too. So
sure.
Well, here's the example. I bought a bunch of cards at an auction online, which is, it's if you're at a place buying at a reputable auction house, you trust that, you're going to get the real deal cards.
Sure.
So I bought some of these cards, and some of it was just a complete set. Well, at the end of the auction, I was just kind of like, there's one card left. It was an Ozzie Smith rookie card. It was a 1979 Topps card. And I bought it, got it, looked at it. It's nice. And I was sending off a bunch of cards to get graded at PSA. And it was literally like the last card I was going to send. I said, this looks okay. I'll send it in. Out of all the cards I sent, that got a 9.
Wow.
Okay. And I'm like, whoa, that's pretty good, for a 79 card, being most of them are cut crappy and all that. So I looked it up, and it's an $800 card. Wow. All day long, $700 to $800, depending on who, but I paid, like $15 for it. So that's the kind of,
what does it cost to have a card graded?
Well, you can sign up for the program and get some included, with it, but normally it's like $7 to $10 a card.
Jeez.
But so you want a card that's worth, grading.
Jeez.
But some people will just grade cards to hope in the future that they preserve the card to be of value. And that's what I was talking about. The Jordan, with all the Jordan hoopla and the documentary, his cards have taken off.
Really? Well, I imagine his had some value to begin with.
Yeah, right? They did, but now it's off the charts. So
I'm caught up on that. I do think it's interesting because it really paints a picture of him being awesome, but I'm a firm believer that he was awesome. You know what I mean? Like he was really, and I tell the kids, I'm like, LeBron, but then once I heard he did it himself, like it's his own documentary, then it's a little lopsided, but there's a lot of shit there that I didn't know, that I didn't follow because like their battle with the Pistons, I don't remember any of that stuff.
No.
I remember how awesome he is.
Yeah.
But he went through a game where he put the Jordans back on.
Oh, okay.
Like after whatever.
I think I had a pair of Jordans back in the day.
God,
I wish
they were
I still
so
had
ugly.
them. They were ugly.
But they're worth a lot of money now. People love those things.
I wish I would have preserved those. Yeah.
But he was like, by halftime of this game, he's like, my feet are bleeding.
Oh, really?
But I can't take them off. I can't. I got a thing. I got to stick with it.
Yeah.
So, but it's an interesting documentary. I really, that was a special team, man. Holy snot. And that guy, even if he is a little lopsided towards himself, he works hard.
Well, they also Pippen's cards have gone up, and he was not
he got the shaft.
Yeah. Well,
according to the documentary.
Did he? Yeah. And I think that's why his card value went up a little bit more, is because they're giving him a little more credit
contract now. And he signed a huge contract, and then he signed a long-term contract, like a 7 or 8 year deal when he was a rookie.
Okay.
So they're paying him rookie money, and he's locked in for this stretch. Even the owner's like, I told him not to sign it. Why would you sign that?
Yeah.
Well, then 7 years down the road, he's a superstar, and they're not budging on their money. They're like, we got you. There's not a lot you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's why he faked that stupid ankle injury at the end of that 1 year in the playoffs. It's like,
oh yeah.
I don't remember any of that shit. So anyway, we are rolling on 50 minutes here, man. We got to cut this thing short. Why don't you give us a quick walkthrough on how this process works for the folks at home who are sick of cooking, don't want to deal with it. What exactly do you do? Is there a menu out there? Give us a walkthrough. Give us your 2-minute commercial right here on the spot.
Well, basically on Thursday, at some point at the day on Thursday, we'll put a menu out there on Chef Ted Facebook. If you can like it, that would be great. I think you just search Chef Ted on Facebook, should pop up, like my page, and then it should show you the menu that we're doing for the following week. And then we will post it. We hope to hear from who wants in.
We got to let you know by when?
I like to, I'll take people on Monday because we don't deliver till Tuesday of the following week, but I like to shop a little on Sunday and Monday.
So you put it out Thursday. You do the shopping on the weekend.
Sunday, Monday. I've got some other counts I do on Monday.
And then you're delivering it on Tuesdays.
I cook and deliver on Tuesday. So the menu consists of usually a salad. And this is all based on 4 portions, unless people tell us differently, if it's more than 4 that they need, but we have really heavy portions. So if you're a family of 5, it's fine. You had
me at heavy portion,
but if you feel like you have heavy eaters, you should probably let me know. But so that we put out 3, the salad for the family lasts a couple days, maybe. We have 1 entree with side dishes, 2 entrees with side dishes. A third one, which we usually make more like a 1-pot dish, like a stew or something like that. And then we have like a biscuit. Like this week we did a gumbo, a shrimp and scallop gumbo with a white cheddar smoked biscuit. And then we did a dessert this week with tres leche and caramel whipped cream. Chocolate
tres leche, like people know what that is.
It's a milk cake. It was for Cinco de Mayo, but we made a chocolate tres leche. And so then hopefully we'll get people to email me, actually, because I want to kind of have it in one spot so I can know who's ordering. So if they tell me on one place or another.
So once they get to the Facebook page, they can see kind of what the idea is for the following week?
It explains it and how it works, and then
they just email you the order directly.
Yep. Well, they just there's no order. They just tell me they're in, and I just need their address and I asked that they try and be within a 15-mile radius of Mound or Maple Plain, because I can't be running over.
So the Chef Ted van can roll up in the drive.
Yeah.
And then you're just dropping it on the doorstep?
Yeah, I bring it to the doorstep, and then they can take the crate and then unload it and give it back to me. There's social distancing is not a problem. And we wipe them down when we get back, the crates, and ready for the next week. But, we will work around people's allergies and stuff, but we have to kind of know that ahead of time. And if it's feasible, we'll adjust it. But I'm trying to make this sort of thing available to more families. And the more families we have, the groceries will be divided and hopefully be less per family, the more we can get. So
do you have an average price that it's been?
It's been right around 100 to 110 per family for grocery costs. For all the meals.
Okay.
That's the grocery cost. The fee that I'm charging for all the meals based on 4 portions is $140 plus the grocery bill, plus tax. And then some people add a gratuity for me running around.
So how much the gratuity? is necessary. How is the so that's how many meals now? Break that down.
Okay, so you're gonna get a salad.
Yeah.
You get one entree with 2 side dishes.
Uh-huh.
You get another entree with 2 side dishes. You get usually a 1 pot dish is our third one we go for, a chili, a stew. You know, we could do a chicken dumpling in the future. So
you're looking at 3 nights
and a
worth
dessert.
Of stuff.
Yeah, 3 nights worth of stuff based on 4 portions.
Damn.
So I mean, it, you know, all said and done, it's you know, it works out to be, I figured, based on, you know, the numbers, it could be anywhere from $20 to $30 per person per meal, per portion.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know,
you're not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to the grocery stores.
I'm forgetting.
Prepping. I'm putting in containers. You're putting in your microwave or oven. You're finishing and then throwing the stuff, you know, the containers away.
Yeah.
We don't need them back.
It's all safe and
it's safe. Yep.
Delivered to the door.
And fresh. No, you know, preservatives and
hell yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah. We, it's taken off. We've had a pretty good run. It was actually to the point where we thought about doing 2 days of deliveries. But since the weather got nicer, it's kind of,
I suppose people
were grilling and
she's loosening up. It's loosening up out there.
So I think we're going to continue to do it. Just because even with when parties come back, I'll be working a lot of those on the weekend. This is something I can gear towards a weekday sort of thing.
I'm telling you, man, fresh, healthy, and delivered to the door.
Yeah, delivered to the door.
Come on, the commercial writes itself. Give us an email and a phone number in case they are not Facebook friendly.
Well, my email is cheftedmn.com, and you can always text me or call me at 763-525-1700.
All right. Well, we got to wrap this thing up, man. We can't thank Chef Ted enough for all the time giving us the insight on what's been the new pandemic way. So everybody tell your friends about the show, tell them about Chef Ted, and tune in next week to see what's been happening on the DK project. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
That's it. That's the end.
That's a wrap.
Read the shtick.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends. If you'd like to reach out, you can use the studio line at 612-504-6500 or by email, thedkprojectpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, there's always social media at the DK Project Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.